son. Where'd you find this?
Just do it! Make your dreams come true!
A few moments later.
You are now listening to Podcast 42, the world's most popular, inaccurate, and sometimes squirreled retelling of pop culture history.
Are you ready? Is that your pose?
Yes, I'm looking at. Yeah, I'm gonna now take on the new cross-legged. What do you call it? Leg up, thighs apart, balls hanging low. I'm gonna talk about Nickelodeon.
Oh my god!
Oh, that's massively
And playing creepy Bill Cosby this week is James.
I'm wearing a Cosby sweater, so I'm kind of happy.
Cosby wasn't kids though.
Playing Kevin Spacey this week.
There you go.
Well, we had Jimmy Savile in England, so that's one of our ones.
Yeah, but most people don't know who that is here.
Just imagine Grandpa, the creepy Grandpa who does nice things for people, but he's not nice.
Yes.
And we had Gary Glitter. You've heard of him.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a singer, right?
Well, he's a pedophile, but
Pedophile.
that wasn't his paid profession.
yeah, well, he definitely paid for it, but so
He only had one song.
yeah, he's a leader.
What was that song? I forget.
Rock and roll.
No, it was he had two, leader of a gang.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, that was used actually on, I want to say, Toy Story, and controversial.
Awkward.
Well, on that note, it's time for part 2 of Nickelodeon, the history of Nickelodeon. Yep.
And you are?
I am Christopher DeVos.
I'm James Duncan, getting pointed at by Nicole Fazone.
Well, because we've always tried to establish an order, and ABC order means you would go second, and I would go third. I'm Nicole Fasone.
So
And I don't believe in order because I'm JL Trost.
Yes.
So let's get back into the history of Nickelodeon. I think we're going
Are we
into
doing last
the...
name order?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I thought we were going first name.
No.
Still was so
But then
confused.
it wasn't the first name.
That's why I'm looking at you like I'm really confused right now.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't follow orders.
Yeah, we'll switch the order up every time. But let's get into the 90s of Nickelodeon, because I think we left off getting towards the 90s, but we didn't get there. So in 1989,
So you're starting off with the 1989 of
yeah,
Nickelodeon.
that's close enough to 90s.
I mean, if you were creative, if you were...
When they say grunge was in the 90s, it actually started in like 1988.
It's true.
Okay.
So
Go on.
1989 brought us the adventures of Pete and Pete. It centered on the humorous and surreal adventures of two brothers, both named Pete Wrigley, along with the eccentric cast of family, friends, and enemies. Now, I didn't watch this show, but my wife asked me to put the show into the script.
Because she knows how great it is.
This show is amazing. This is a
it?
show that I definitely didn't see when it first came out, but saw in the UK, and it was hilarious. I always remember the one episode of there's a guy who pees in the swimming pool, and there's a detective trying to find out who's peeing in the swimming pool. Yeah.
All right, I'm sold.
It was honestly, and they're both called Pete, and one's a fat little kid, and one's a tall, skinny kid.
And the fat little kid was the one who always did all the stupid things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whose best friend was the strongest man in the world.
Yep.
I know Nickelodeon was showing reruns of some of these a while back. The show was originally minute-long shorts that aired in between TV shows. Owing to the popularity of the shorts, five half-hour specials were made, followed by a regular half-hour series that ran for 3 seasons from 1993 to 1996. The series is often referred to as one of the most well-written kids shows ever. On June 7th, 1990, Nickelodeon opened Nickelodeon Studios. That's where Nicole got her fame.
Yay.
This was a television production studio as well as an attraction at Universal Studios Florida, which at that time sucked, but now is so much better. This same year, Pizza Hut entered into a multi-million-dollar marketing agreement with Nickelodeon, which provided the Nickelodeon magazine for free at its restaurants.
So on August 11th, 1991, Nickelodeon debuted its first original animated shows, Doug, Rugrats, and Ren and Stimpy. Definitely have watched all 3 of these and enjoyed all 3. Still, boogers under the table is something I look for, thanks to Ren and Stimpy.
I love Rugrats to death. It's
Love
one of my
Rugrats.
favorites.
Yeah. And then Doug was wonderful. So Doug revolves around Douglas, hyphenated Doug, Funny, as an 11-year-old boy who is more often than not tries to deal with his fears and failures of social rejection. Doug narrates every episode, kind of like he does the stop and look at camera thing that they did by Saved by the Bell. He's not called Zach Morris. And he narrates every episode.
He breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah,
per
he
se.
does in
Okay.
cartoon. Yeah, so and writes his experience in his journal, which I don't know many 11-year-old boys that really wrote stuff in their journal. Chris, did you do that?
No.
Jail,
Nope.
Nicole?
I was an 11-year-old girl. I did.
Yeah, I thought so. Doug also has an alter ego named Quailman. Doug's family consisted of his parents, Thelda and Phil, sister Judy, and dog Porkchop. And then Disney took over and gave him a baby brother, but we won't talk about that. And
We don't talk about the Disney Doug at all.
And a large assembly of cast included Mosquito, Skeeter Valentine, he was Doug's best friend, Roger Klutz, Doug's bully nemesis and the local jerk, and Patty Mayonnaise, which I always thought was a hilarious name for a last person, you know.
Now, this is the cartoon where everybody was a different color in the head, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Skeeter
Some were
was-
blue, some were like green.
Okay.
And they made them-
I think I've seen an episode or 2 of this.
Doug was good. I
Yeah.
mean, it definitely was like an angsty kid trying to deal with stuff and like that. Also, it was hilarious. They had a band called The Beats, who were like a British pop invasion band.
They were a total Beatles knockoff.
Yeah, it was really funny and like
Yeah.
Ringo Starr cut hair.
even the drummer looked like
Yeah.
Ringo Starr.
It was great.
Well, they had to do something right if Disney eventually bought them.
I mean, it was I definitely loved Doug. Doug was around my time of watching Nickelodeon in the UK, so it's definitely one that I would always remember fondly.
And then there was Rugrats.
Yes!
Which focused on the experiences of a 1-year-old baby named Tommy Pickles and his group of playmates that included Chucky, Tommy's insecure, cowardly 2-year-old best friend, the twins Phil and Lil, Tommy's baby brother Dill, who was introduced later.
Much later.
Yeah. Angelica, Tommy and Dill's 3-year-old spoiled cousin, who is the main antagonist of the program. I hated Angelica.
Hey, have you ever seen a thing about how the Rugrats was actually
Yes.
Angelica's imagination?
Yeah.
Yes!
That's something to read. It's always fucked up.
Ooh, Kimmy, Chucky's adventurous, playful stepsister. I don't remember her.
She came later.
along in the Rugrats in Paris.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. And Susie, a neighbor of the Pickles family. The baby's parents are often involved in their own doings, while the children are often left in the yard or playpen to formulate adventures using their imagination, toys, and environment.
And Tommy always kept a little screwdriver in his pants to break him out of the playpen.
I mean,
How
I
do
still
you not notice that?
I don't know. The parents weren't watching that. That's how they don't notice it.
They were too busy building reptile robots. That thing, I always remember that one. The reptile
Everybody
robots.
remembers Reptar.
Yeah. They sell reptile candy bars right now.
Really?
Yeah, they're in the grocery stores.
In the regular grocery stores?
Yeah,
Okay.
not just nerd grocery stores. The regular one.
Well, Universal Studios.
Yeah, no, they're in-
has
they're
a bunch
in,
of Rugrats. Or they did. So I thought maybe
No, they're selling them. They have them at Kohl's as well in their Christmas section right now. So
because we do live in Fantasyland, and I think we
We
forget
do?
that. Yeah, because the rest of the world is not like where we live at all. Like, there's not a gigantic mountain that you can slide down.
Yeah.
Driving to your house, I pass that all the time
If you're
there was a
for
mountain.
fun.
Is it a spot of fun where you could go?
It is a spot of fun.
and odds are, if you're in Middle America and go to your grocery store, you're not going to find a Reptar bar there.
I don't know. I thought they were. Well, actually, the only other person I saw had it was in California, probably in LA. So another place of Fantasyland.
And I will look into that one.
One quick note: I do love that they named the second kid Dill.
Dill pickle.
Dylan. Dill Pickle.
But
Yeah.
you think, I'm just wondering, because were Nickelodeon really hungry when they wrote the script? Because we had Patty Mayonnaise and then the pickles. So is he just building a sandwich and different shows?
Yes.
A sandwich to millions.
Oh, and then there was Ren and Stimpy, which centered on Ren, a short-tempered chihuahua, and Stimson J. Ooh, Stimpy, the cat. Dim-witted and happy-go-lucky. Nicole, did you like Stimpy?
I didn't really watch this one.
You're missing out.
I think I was young and it was a little creepy and weird for me.
It was drawn creepily.
They were, yeah. It was definitely not appropriate but now watching it back, I'm like, I was allowed to watch this.
I know.
I still have nightmares over the episode where they pulled all of Ren's teeth.
Oh, yes, that's
yeah.
And the little vein is hanging out of his mouth for each tooth hole.
That would be too creepy for me.
Yep, I remember that one. The duo spends the entire show at odds with each other while doing various things, like going to outer space or being Old West horse thieves. The show featured off-color and slapstick humor. Other popular characters were Powdered Toast Man and Mr. Horse, who would make cameos every once in a while.
And don't forget Log.
Everybody remembers that one.
Yeah, I mean, Log
You
was...
watch the show, you remember Log.
It was
Yes.
like one of their slapstick made-up commercials for things, and it was Log.
Log.
I will tell you that Powdered Toast Man makes quite a bit of appearances at the Comic-Cons.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I can see that.
He's often a cosplay people do.
Nickelodeon had originally decided to avoid weekly animated shows due to the high production costs, but with the success of these shows, Nicktoons added a fourth, Rocko's Modern Life. Rocko's Modern Life followed the life of a timid Australian wallaby named Rocko. His best friends are Heifer Wolf, a fat steer, Filbert, a neurotic and uncomfortable, and his dog Spunky. Rocco's neighbors are a middle-aged couple, Ed Bighead, a cynical and crass toad who hates Rocco, and his wife Bev. Throughout its run, the show was controversial for its adult humor, including using double entendres and innuendos, like a lot in this show.
Well,
I
Rocco
haven't
was
seen
a
this
phone
one.
sex operator.
Yes.
He was what?
He worked a phone sex hotline.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
I was about to say, I haven't seen this one, but I've heard so much that I'm going to go back
Yeah,
and watch it.
Rocco's... I blame it for all of my life. Why I'm just... This is the way I am. It's all Rocco's Modern Life's fault.
Not the Grinch.
Maybe that as well.
So this is a kid's show, and he was. They actually said he was a phone sex operator.
It was implied. That
It's
he's-
implied.
Okay.
Like watching it as an adult, that's what it is.
Okay.
And it just goes over the kids' heads, so it's not that big a deal, but...
I took it all on board.
Yeah, well, on August 15th, 1992, the network upped an ante on its Saturday schedule by 2 hours with the launch of Snick from 8 to 10 p.m. Snick became home to shows such as Are You Afraid of the Dark?, Clarissa Explains It All, The Amanda Show, and Keenan and Kel.
So Clarissa Explains It All, my first girl crush, big time.
Oh,
Melissa Joan Hart?
Yep, she was my number one.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah, she was my first big crush.
I think besides in this list of shows, besides Melissa Joan Hart and Kenan Thompson, all the rest of these stars have gone into drugs and alcohol.
I don't know. I think there were a few people off of Are You Afraid of the Dark that did something.
Yeah.
Because they had a giant rotating cast.
I mean, that one was one of the ones. So these shows, again, we didn't get them at the same time as you in the US. We got them a lot later. So if Are You Afraid of Dark, really, I maybe saw 2 or 3 episodes of. The Amanda Show I never saw. And then Keenan and Kel was shown on... It wasn't shown on Nickelodeon. It was shown on Nickelodeon, but it was shown on also terrestrial television on Saturday mornings and became like a big thing. The whole orange soda thing was huge.
Well, if you get the chance, Are You Afraid of the Dark is great.
And I'm not, by the way. I just want the three of you to know I'm not afraid of the dark.
Well, your eyes are in like the direct sunlight that's shining into the room right now.
That's why
So
he's
are
not
you
afraid of the
sure?
dark.
Yeah, that's why.
He's also not a vampire. So.
I'm not. So then in 1994, Nickelodeon, or Nickelodeon, whichever one, people in Ohio pronounce it Nickelodeon, just so... In case you're wondering why I was pronouncing it that way, launched The Big Help, which would later spawn off the program The Big Green Help in 2007. It was a yearly event in which kids from around the country would call in and try to get one of their local parks refurbished by Nickelodeon. And I guess that's back when kids played outside.
Yeah.
They went outside in America?
Yes.
Because
Yes,
today,
they
if they launched the show, you'd have to get like your basement refurnished or like your bedroom refurnished. Cause
What's
kids
a
don't go
basement?
outside. Oh, you're from New York. You know what a basement is. The 10 with the most votes would win and turn into an 8-hour special. Also in 1994, You Can't Do That on Television, which is my favorite Nickelodeon program, ended its 13-year run and was replaced by a new sketch comedy show, All That. All That would launch the careers of Kenan Thompson, Amanda Bynes, and Jamie Lynn Spears. The show's executive producer Dan Schneider would go on to create and produce numerous hit series for Nickelodeon, including...
The Amanda Show. The Amanda Show. So I'm guessing that's Amanda Bynes, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So I had the fortune of meeting her. Or misfortune. I wasn't really sure.
On a binge?
At one of the many theme parks here. She came in and I wasn't sure who she was, and people said, that's Amanda Bynes. I said, who? Yeah,
When
apparently
she
I was
was drugged out or before she was drugged out?
younger. This was
What color was her hair?
blonde and in a hat, and she was with her mum and dad, and they were having a Disney day. I didn't know who she was.
Before.
Yeah. No, well, this was 2 years ago, so I don't know.
Oh, after.
Yep.
Rehab.
In between.
Now, I don't know. So she had her own show, The Amanda Show, which was a sketch comedy show that was set in a fictional universe in which it broadcast as a popular television comedy, as evidenced through stage mishaps involving members of the studio audience. One particular audience fan had an unhealthy obsession with Amanda herself. This really kind of feels like you're talking about Hannah Montana, but
No.
like I don't
No,
know, but
it's
I
a little
never watched
different.
either, so it kind of just this is what I could imagine Hannah Montana being. And self-proclaimed herself as a #1 fan, Penelope. Penelope. I don't know how to pronounce her last name.
Taint.
Oh
No.
Yeah.
Penelope Taint?
no way!
No.
Her last name was Taint.
Taynt.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
I will
All right.
pull it up afterwards, and you will listen.
Penelope constantly devises schemes to achieve a lifelong goal of meeting Amanda Bynes.
She was played by Amanda Bynes.
Oh, what? So she's the same character?
No.
This is Hannah Montana.
He's portraying Amanda's #1 fan, trying to do everything she can to meet Amanda. And so, yeah, it's kind of like Hannah Montana. in the
No.
sense that- yes.
No, because Hannah Montana wore disguise to
Yeah, she was
live
aware
an
that
everyday
she's the
life.
same person. This is supposed to be two separate people.
Yes, this is two
She's
separate
playing
people.
her #1 fan, trying to meet herself.
No wonder I'm so bloody
It's like an
confused.
actor playing a twin.
What?
She's playing two different people. It's the same actor, but it's two completely different
Like
people.
Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
No.
They were believable as twins. I don't care what anybody says.
like Parent Trap.
Yes, Lindsay Lohan playing Lindsay Lohan,
Yes.
but yes.
Yes.
Some of these schemes, including Penelope attempting to outsmart the security guard of the studios where the Amanda Show is filmed, and manipulating Amanda's cast members in helping her to carry out her plans.
Oh, quick note. Dan Schneider is in my favorite movie of all time. Which
Better
is
Off Dead.
Better Off Dead. It's now a little dated. So if anyone goes, oh, that's his favorite movie, I'm going to check it out. Super dated, but he plays
Such a
like
great movie.
It's a great movie. He plays Ricky the neighbor. And
No.
he's,
Really?
Yes.
Hey, Ricky,
The
sorry
big
your mom's
fat
face
guy.
blew up.
Yes, that's him. That's Dan Schneider,
Come on!
who reinvented Nickelodeon in the 90s with all these shows. They're all under him, and you would have thought that guy was that brilliant. I mean, he barely talks in the movie.
He doesn't. Have you ever seen that movie, James?
No.
You need to watch
But
it.
then also that kind of is like the guy that directed Home Alone. He's in the background scene. He's the bus driver when they're all driving back. I can't think of his name right now. I just went blank. But it's one of the ones you wouldn't ever expect the director to kind of be there, being an extra, kind of being like someone who was that important in all these the movies. Yeah, sorry, really weird
Christopher
screw.
Columbus.
No, he was the guy that found America.
He's also a Harry Potter director.
I know. I just can't resist.
Now, if you go watch the movie, it is super dated. A lot of references. Howard Cosell's referenced in it, so it's really old.
It's a
but
pure 80s movie.
you can still get some humor out of it. I think the cell phones are still the size of your head. It's just
They have the antennas.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Then there was Drake and Josh, which focused on a pair of stepbrothers who have opposite personalities. Drake is a popular but immature aspiring musician and is a hit with the ladies, while Josh has trouble with dating and popularity.
Have you seen the actor for Josh lately?
Yes.
He was the big kid. He was the big fat kid on the show.
They kind of switched roles now.
And now, he's a
Where
heartthrob
Drake
and
is the
skinny
nerdy guy now,
Yeah.
and Josh is what Drake was.
Yeah.
Well, so Drake had a really, really bad car accident and had to have a lot of facial reconstructive surgery. So he's
Like Mark
kind of
Hamill.
toned down a bit. Josh was on. He got that show with John Stamos, grandfathered, and they were on that together. And so Josh looks great. He lost a lot of weight. He looks really fit. He looks good.
If
He
I
just got
remember
married.
right, he did an indie movie where he was like a heroin addict shortly after Drake and Josh,
And
and lost all the weight for it.
And he did Drillbit Taylor because he was the bullied sidekick in that too.
I don't know Drillbit Taylor.
It's
That's an Owen Wilson movie.
yeah. I was going
Oh,
to say Wonky Nice Guy plays the.
That's why I don't know it.
Yeah, nobody watches Owen Wilson movies.
I do. I would give that one a high rating. I'd say that's like a 7 crumpets.
Wow.
I enjoy
That's a
that
lot
one.
for an Owen Wilson movie.
Yeah, it's not as good as Krampus though.
Not a better Crumpet Krampus.
Krampus.
Zoe 101. which is about lives of teenager Zoe, her brother, and her friends as they attend Pacific Coast Academy, PCA, a fictional boarding school in Southern California. Anybody watch this one?
I did, because my oldest daughter was into all these shows.
All
so
right,
I watched
so-
them with her. They were all watchable.
So then you know the next one, too.
Yes.
These is where it tips the scale. I think Drake and Josh was finally the end of it for Nickelodeon for me. I didn't watch Zoe 101 or the following two that we're going to talk about.
Oh, no, they're both very good. All four are very good.
iCarly. This show centered on Carly and her best friend Sam, who have a webcast. Their tech-savvy friend Freddie records it and posts it online. The webcast features talent contests, recipes, problem-solving, and random dancing. Carly lives in Seattle with her 26-year-old brother and guardian Spencer, and produces the show in a makeshift third-floor studio loft in their apartment.
So she was a super rich kid.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was like the Friends apartment. You would never be able to afford that ever.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing. It was like 2 stories, and it was her and her brother, which Spencer needed his own show. He was a great character.
Who was the actor?
I can't think of his name, but he was in Drake and Josh too.
Oh.
He was the crazy movie guy. He worked at the movies with I forget which one worked at the
Josh.
movie. Josh.
Yeah.
And he was insane. An insane guy he worked with at the movies.
Cool.
Theater.
I'll find it.
Spencer was played by Jerry Trainer.
That's him. You would if you saw if you saw him, you would know who he is.
All right. Well, Victorious is a series that follows Tori Vega, a teenager who is accepted into Hollywood Arts High School, which is a school for talented teens in various performing arts fields. Other students at Hollywood Arts include Andre Harris, a musical prodigy, Robbie Shapiro, a socially awkward ventriloquist who carries around his puppet Rex Powers, Jade West, a gothic mean girl who has a complicated frenemy relationship with Tori, Kat Valentine, a sweet and innocent but naive and somewhat dim-witted girl, and Beck Oliver, a down-to-earth and handsome guy who is Jade's boyfriend. We all know who Kat Valentine is, right? Anybody?
Yes.
Gentlemen? Who is it?
The chick who sings in the high voice.
Yes.
What's
Anybody?
her name?
Follow
Oh,
up?
Grande.
There you go. Ariana Grande
Yes.
plays Kat Valentine.
And she talked in a super annoying voice in this show.
She talked like this all the time, like she was trying to be all cute and innocent, and it was really annoying.
I know someone like that.
You're not naming names? Okay.
Smart.
JL,
Smart.
you need to tone down your voice.
Sorry.
Well, there was actually kind of a spin-off, or a crossover, I should say, that was Sam and Kat. So it was the spin-off from iCarly and Victorious, where Sam from iCarly and Kat from Victorious form an after-school babysitting business called Sam and Kat's Super Rockin' Fun Time Babysitting Service, and it leads to sitcom misadventures.
That wasn't a bad show either, because, like I said, my oldest daughter watched all of those, and I would watch them with her, and I could sit down and actually watch them.
Yeah.
Without being bored to death.
Henry Hart, is a 13-year-old boy who lives in the town of Swellview, and he lands a part-time job as Kid Danger, a sidekick of Captain Man, who's a well-known superhero. Henry cannot tell anybody about what's going on here.
So if there's a typo, you actually don't have to read it. You can gloss over it.
But it's more fun to read it because he always does it to me normally, so it's all right.
Well, see, my whole part of this is I was like, what's the name of the show? And I realized I just hyphenated the name. Okay, so it's the name of the show is Henry Danger.
Yes.
And the character is Henry Hart.
Yes.
Who is Kid Danger,
Yes.
a sidekick of Captain Man, who is a well-known superhero. And Henry could not tell anybody about his
No, it's
job.
to tell anybody.
Yeah, you cannot to-tell anybody. Because if you to-tell anybody, then they're gonna know that he's the sidekick, so you don't to-tell anybody.
But you can do too.
As long as you don't to tell.
He attempts to keep it a secret from his best friends, Charlotte and Jasper, and his younger sister, Piper, and his parents.
Now, I have a bone to pick with you because we did Nickelodeon for you, and then you haven't seen any of these shows. You stopped after Drake and Josh.
Okay, but, I was very animated about Rugrats.
I've done a lot of research for this. There's been a lot of Nick Jr. that I've been watching for this show.
I didn't watch Nick Jr. Are you going to yell at me about that, too?
No, you can get a pass on Nick Jr., but If I had known that you were only going to watch Rugrats, we could have just done Rugrats as an episode.
But we've got more coming up. We've got a couple more.
Yeah.
But did you watch them?
I watched
SpongeBob.
I watched Dora.
You watched Double Dare from part 1 and Drake and Josh. That is not a Nickelodeon fan.
And Rugrats. I'm sorry, did we talk about Hey Arnold on this yet?
I don't think we're going to talk about
Well,
Hey
why
Arnold.
not? Hey Arnold is one of the best Nickelodeon shows. Chris.
I wouldn't say that.
Because
I
we
love Hey
got
Arnold.
I love Hey Arnold.
we got to spend 72 pages dedicated to SpongeBob SquarePants.
No,
Exactly.
that's up to
Exactly.
you. You can change it to be however much you want it to be.
All right, well, tell us about Hey Arnold, because it's not in the script.
Hey Arnold is about a football-shaped head kid named Arnold.
Wow, he's a kid who has some form of like facial dementia,
I know.
and you're gonna make fun of him.
It's the whole thing about the
So wait a
show.
minute, wait a
Wow.
minute. He has a football head, so he's really just a grown-up Stewie Griffin.
Oh, there's
Yes.
more characters with deformities in this show.
Yeah.
Yes, because
well,
there's the kid who looks like a pig, and there's the butcher that looks like a pig too.
And
Harold.
the girl with the monobrow.
Harold and Mr. Green.
Yes,
Those are the two.
Exactly, I say it, and you look like that.
And the
Isn't there
monobrow
the
girl.
kid with the chocolate addiction?
Yeah, and there's
Chocolate Boy.
yeah, and there's the kid that has the can't leave the stoop
Kid.
Yes, because he has
Those are their names?
agoraphobia. He has
But this is a
agoraphobia.
great show. Remember this, Chris. This is how she
It is.
remembers
I mean-
everybody.
It is. And then there's Gerald, his
Who's
best
Will
friend
Smith.
with the really tall
He's
hair.
Will Smith from The Fresh Prince at the beginning.
Helga.
Oh, okay.
Helga is the
Monobrow.
one with the monobrow and the
Who has
yellow
the shrine to
pigtails.
Arnold, you know.
And she's obsessed with Arnold.
There's the kid who's Ernest. That's Stinky.
Know what I mean?
Yep, Stinky.
Was it Stinky? Is
Yeah,
that
hey,
what it was
Vern.
supposed to be?
Yeah, he says sorry, Vern.
Oh, okay. There was.
Does he say, hey, Vern? Oh, okay.
There's Phoebe, which was
Chinese-
Helga's best
She
friend.
was part of Friends, yes.
Yes, she was really smart.
Not on Friends.
There's Grandpa who is crazy and awesome, and then there's Grandma who is
Crazy and
clearly
awesome.
has multiple personality disorders and is.
Oh, yeah. Keep going. Sorry.
There's the Polish guy who's lazy because immigrants are lazy in Hey Arnold.
Yes. There's Helga's parents, who her mom's an alcoholic, and her dad is like just completely ignores her and loves her sister more and calls her sister's name all the time.
Wow.
It's a good show.
I've seen a couple, but I haven't seen very many of them.
It's honestly enjoyable. I will defend Nicole saying it's a good show.
And then there's Eugene, who's compulsively unlucky.
Although hearing
And
it described, it sounds like it was drug-induced written.
Yeah. And then what was the kid that was really creepy? The one who just had the heavy breathing was always turning up.
Nicole.
No. Rude. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I just can't remember his name. But she would always punch him in the face and get in trouble for it.
I don't know that one. I remember Grandpa, and I remember Arnold and Monobrow.
What's Game Shakers?
Game Shakers is a series about two 7th graders, Babe and Kenzie, who start a multi-million-dollar gaming company. These kids are like doing good for themselves in
They
these
are.
shows. Of course, rap superstar Double G joins them as their business partner. Also, Double G's son, Triple G, is hired as a game consultant, and Hudson as a test dummy on experiments for experiments on games. And lastly, Real Monsters, another hit Nicktoon.
I enjoyed Real Monsters.
I did too.
I haven't seen this one.
I cannot remember the characters' names, but my favorite one was like the little naked man who had two eyeballs that he didn't want in his head. And he had
They
to
were
look
in his
around,
hands and
hold
just-
them all around.
You'd
to
always
see.
be losing them.
Yeah, he was great. And then the one that could change, and then the one that kind of looked like Ren a little bit, who was a red guy.
Yeah.
It was a good show. It definitely didn't have a long enough run though. So
Yeah, when I was researching for the script, the wife said, "Did you include Real Monsters?" And I said, "No, I didn't include Real Monsters." And she's like, "Well, when you do, you got to say it like Real Monsters." So
Yeah,
I
really
gave
cool.
I gave that part to Nicole, so she would
I
say
did
it right.
it.
I know, that's why. That's why. Because I was saying Real Monsters. She's like, "No, you got to say So we'll cut that part out because that was a boring story.
Do you like what you're listening to? Do you like listening to stuff just in general? Here's our fun. Especially the lobes. Check this other podcast out, but only when you're done with this show, of course.
Do you enjoy being a fly on the wall, getting to listen in on a conversation and learning things about the people involved? Hi, I'm Rhett Hall, and I host the Brain Trust Brothers podcast, where every week I bring the audience along to listen in on a conversation between myself and someone that I find interesting. It could be another podcaster, an actor, or just some guy from down the street. You never know what you're going to get, but you can always count on it being fun, informative, and entertaining. You can find the podcast every Tuesday on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or by visiting braintrustbros.com/podcast. Join me as I try to make the world a better place, one conversation at a time.
Nickelodeon released its first full feature-length film in theaters in 1996, an adaptation of the novel Harriet the Spy, starring Michelle Trachtenberg and Rosie O'Donnell. The film went on to earn twice its $13 million budget. 2 years after Harriet's success, Nickelodeon released its popular Rugrats cartoon onto the big screen with the Rugrats movie, which is awesome. It grossed more than $100 million and became the first non-Disney animated movie to ever earn that much. 1996 also saw the debut of Blue's Clues.
I'd say Rugrats movies probably gets a good 9 crumpets.
Ah, really? I would have thought it'd get higher.
No, I think it's definitely very, very good, but if you were to now put it in concept, it's completely dated. But it was.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Wasn't it about Raptor?
Yeah, Reptar, and it was very well done. I mean, honestly, for it being a big feature film that they really put into it, as I said, it really lived up to the Rugrats brand.
Yes.
I think the ones after were not as good, but, I think Nicole would defend Rugrats in Paris because I think that's one of her favorites.
I like that one.
See?
It was fun. It was funny. They were opening up Reptar Land in Paris, and Chucky's dad is single, and the woman who's in charge of building it, she's like a total witch, but she finds out that Chucky's dad is single, and her boss wants her to be more of a family person because she's going to be running an amusement park. So she tries to trick Chucky's dad into marrying her, but Chucky's dad actually likes her assistant, who is Kimmy, the little Asian girls. That's her mom, and then they get married, and that's how Kimmy gets introduced to the gang of all the kids.
Yes, I thought that one was good too.
See, he knows.
Yeah, I saw that one.
He agrees.
Never seen it.
But in 1997, there was an important year for Nickelodeon. Up through the 90s, Saturday mornings, cartoons had been the most popular for children's programs on television. This was mostly due to the fact that all broadcasting networks had to provide educational television. Nickelodeon did not have to comply to this mandate, as they did not broadcast over the air. This meant that Nickelodeon could show whatever they wanted on Saturday mornings. And by 1997, Nickelodeon's Saturday morning lineup had shot ahead of all of its competition, where it would remain for the next several years.
Oh, and then came 1999, and the channel introduced the world to somebody who lived in a pineapple under the sea.
Who is that? I've never seen this show.
What?
SpongeBob SquarePants,
Yay!
which became the most popular Nicktoon in the channel's history. If you live under a rock, under the sea, and do not know SpongeBob, the series revolves around its title character and his various friends. SpongeBob is an energetic and optimistic sea sponge who looks more like a kitchen sponge that lives in a submerged pineapple.
I never did understand that.
I think it's the classic things you'd find in a tank, like a fish tank. Because, there's all those stupid ornaments and stuff like that. I thought, Squidward's one was, the weird things that people drop in a fish
It's a
tank.
tiki. It looks like a tiki.
Oh, yeah, his
And
house.
then-
But, SpongeBob was
but the fact that he looks like, like a regular sponge.
he's a kitchen sponge.
Yeah, because the sponges are living things in the sea, and just that's where they come out of.
And if you do a big blob, like his parents, you just look like a chocolate chip cookie.
Well, he should look like a chocolate chip cookie.
But he's not a chocolate chip cookie. He's a sponge, and kids associate sponge with what they see in their house.
Because
which
this
a
is
kitchen
really
sponge.
such a kid show. So, he loves his job as a fry cook at the Krusty Krab. He also has a pet snail, Gary,
Meow,
who meows like a cat.
meow.
Meow.
Living 2 houses down from SpongeBob is his best friend, Patrick Star.
Hey, SpongeBob. Hey, SpongeBob.
That's my favorite character.
A dim-witted yet friendly pink starfish who lives under a rock. Squidward Tentacles is SpongeBob's next-door neighbor and co-worker at the Krusty Krab.
SpongeBob.
Squidward is an arrogant and ill-tempered octopus who lives in an Easter Island head and hates everything except playing the clarinet and painting self-portraits.
Just like me.
I want to see what
As
it
a
is.
child, you're SpongeBob, and then you grow up to be Squidward. Another close friend of SpongeBob is Sandy Cheeks, a scientist squirrel from Texas who is also an expert in karate, like Nicole.
Hi-ya.
She wears an astronaut suit when she is outside of her oak tree glass dome. This helps her breathe underwater. Mr. Krabs is a miserly crab obsessed with money and the owner of the Krusty Krab restaurant. Plankton is a small green, what is that, copepod?
Yes.
Who owns a low-rank fast food restaurant called the Chum Bucket, located across the street from the Krusty Krab. Plankton spends most of his time planning to steal the secret recipe from Mr. Krabs' Krabby Patty burgers. The series takes place in the underwater city of Bikini Bottom. The citizens live in mostly aquatic-themed buildings and use boatmobiles to travel around. I like how there's always fire underwater on SpongeBob.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that can't happen underwater happen.
I like the jellyfishing. That's always one of my favorite when they go jellyfishing.
Yes, with the nets.
Yeah, because, you're fishing, yeah. And SpongeBob, yes. It's one of those shows you can watch it in any atmosphere. You can be tired and watch SpongeBob, and it'll make you smile. You can be drunk and watch SpongeBob, and it will make you laugh.
Yeah.
Well, most things when you're drunk.
I don't know, not most things. I mean,
Who are the superheroes on SpongeBob?
Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy.
Yes.
see how quick she. And what
She
do they
didn't even
drive,
take a
Nicole?
breath on that one.
The invisible boatmobile.
Yes, it's wonderful. It's grown up. It's Adam West and Burt Ward grown up.
Yeah.
And it's really great. And I think they are just wonderful characters.
And then their nemesis is Man Ray. Man Ray.
There is an episode of SpongeBob where SpongeBob goes into everybody's dreams. Mm-hmm. And the most brilliant one is he goes into Patrick's dream, who's riding like one of those horses you find outside the grocery store, and you have to put a quarter in it to get it to work. So in the dream, Patrick loses his quarter, and it goes down the grate, and he can't ride the horse anymore because he lost the money to ride it. Which is brilliant because he's in a dream and he can do whatever he wants. But he can't because he lost his money in the dream. It's great. That's my favorite episode.
My favorite is the training video for the Krusty Krab where they're talking about like personal hygiene and to like scrub your hands really good, and then his hands are gone. And the whole
I
time,
didn't see that.
The whole time he's asking, "Can I make a Krabby Patty?" And he's like, "No, we have to go over all the important stuff about working here." And then the end of the episode is this big lead up to him saying what the Krabby Patty secret formula is, and it cuts to the credits. Like, so you just don't ever know what the secret formula is.
Apparently it's gummy because you can buy Krabby Patties in the grocery store.
I've heard it's crab, and like that's the whole twisted part about it.
Well, they sell them as candy gummies, so that was my little joke that didn't go over very well.
She wouldn't let you finish. So there you go.
All right. Well, the year 2000 brought us Dora the Explorer.
Dora.
the Explorer.
Never seen it.
Really?
No way.
Never, honestly.
on.
I've seen the character walk around Universal Studios, and I know about the backpack because of JL's kid, and that's about it.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously, I've never seen Dora the Explorer.
Huh.
Well, it became one of the longest-running shows in Nickelodeon history and won a Peabody Award in 2003 for outstanding efforts in making learning a pleasurable experience for preschoolers. Dora, a 7-year-old American girl of Mexican heritage, and her friend Boots, who was a monkey, embark on quests together. She faced obstacles and puzzles along the way that she and Boots are forced to overcome, and she would turn to the viewing audience to ask for help.
Because you had to beat Swiper.
Swipe or no swiping?
You got to know
was
that.
Swiper?
That was the fox.
He was
that
the
was always
fox.
trying to steal this stuff from Dora's backpack.
Yeah.
And if you saw him coming, you had to say swipe or no swiping. And then he'd say, "Oh, man." And
Now,
then he'd
you
run
are
away.
kidless, so I can understand you not watching it. But it's
Yeah.
for kids, it's pretty good. You're not going to like it. It's going to be super annoying if you watch it.
So
yeah.
Yeah, see,
I've watched the same one about the train I don't know how many times because guess what my kid likes? Trains.
Oh, I thought it was.
I'm Optimus Prime. Oh, no. You have to do it the way. I am Optimus Prime.
Yeah. All right. In 2005, Nickelodeon Studios closed down and was converted into the Blue Man Group Theater.
Which is awesome.
It opened in 2007, and Nickelodeon now tapes all of its live-action shows in Hollywood. Also in 2005, Nickelodeon premiered the animated series Avatar: The Last Airbender,
That's not the
another hit series for the network.
That's not the Blue Guys.
No, it's not the Blue Guys.
It
that
was a
we
great
know
series
today.
that was turned into an even better movie
But
by
they only
M.
did-
Night Shyamalan.
I heard the movie was horrible.
No,
It
the
was.
The movie, again, but the thing is, it leaves you on a cliffhanger waiting for part 2 that never happened.
Because it's not going to happen because it was that bad.
I watched it and was like very confused and then went, I don't know what that's
The series
about.
is really good.
Oh.
I've seen a couple episodes of the series, and I wanted to watch the movie, but then I heard it was just terrible. Which is hard to believe for an M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong movie because everything after Unbreakable is terrible.
Split was really good.
That just came out within the last couple years, and he's starting to redeem himself. But for a long time, he had bad movies, especially that Alien movie. That's one of the worst.
Which one was that?
I think we talked about it before, Signs.
Oh, I like that one.
Oh, Signs is not bad. I mean, I wouldn't say it's up there, but
I think his worst one is probably The Happening.
Well, Signs was good up until we find out that the aliens are invading a planet that's 90% water, and they're allergic to water.
yeah, which is just the stupidest twist.
That's the dumbest twist ever. They would never do that.
I know, we should have just turned our sprinklers on when he was in the cornfield, and it would have ended right there.
Yeah.
But you talking about aliens right now? I'm gonna squirrel off. Did you
Okay.
hear there's an asteroid is in space at the moment, traveling at like 700 bajillion miles an hour, spinning around in circles, that looks like a giant poop, which they believe is an alien spacecraft. I know, this is breaking news.
Breaking news.
It might actually be a giant alien poop.
Yeah, exactly,
We
spinning
don't
around.
know how big the aliens are.
Exactly.
Or
So-
their poops.
But they, because of the thing and the makeup of it, was very intriguing. We'll save that for an alien exploration episode.
Is it
Ooh,
going to
that's a
hit
good
the
idea.
Earth? Because that's usually how
No.
we only
No, it's just
We've
hear about
already
any
sent Bruce
asteroids.
Willis up there
okay.
to take care of it.
And his mining company
I
buddies.
think we're going to send actually celebrities that have been involved in any sexual harassment cases.
Oh, that's all of them.
Yeah.
In 2007, Nickelodeon entered into a 4-year development deal with Sony Music to produce music-themed TV shows for the network, to help fund and launch tie-in albums, and to produce original soundtrack songs that could be released as singles. I think this is where Nickelodeon kind of went downhill.
I think it's where it started copying Disney.
Yeah.
Well, I think they always had the music in there somehow, but this is where they really started plugging it.
Nah, I don't think so.
Because if you look at the trend beforehand, like they had a few that they were plugging with the music, like Drake and Josh in the early 2000s. It just became more obvious with this one.
Well, one example of this was the hit music-themed sitcom Big Time Rush,
Never seen it.
which ran from 2009 to 2013. Think the Monkees, but updated.
But I like the Monkees.
Yeah, the Monkees was funny.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad of a show, but it was glaringly obvious that this was all about selling albums.
I mean, I like the Monkees, but I love the Banana Splits.
Bananarama.
No, Banana Splits.
Oh.
1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4.
Big Time Rush became a hit after less than a month on the air, garnering 6.8 million viewers for its official debut on January 18, 2010. It was about the misadventures of 4 hockey players from Minnesota, Kendall Knight, James Diamond, Carlos Garcia, and Logan Mitchell, after they are selected to form a boy band by fictional mega music producer Gustavo.
I don't know how I never watched this show. Hockey and a boy band?
I know, and then the names like Knight, Diamond, Logan. Come on, that's like, that's comic
I know.
book everywhere.
Now I feel like I have to go watch this show.
I'm
One
not
of the
gonna
kids always wore the hockey helmet.
like Jason Voorhees style.
No, it wasn't the goalie.
Oh.
It was
Oh,
regular
just
hockey
a regular hockey
That'd
helmet?
be
Yeah.
more funny, a kid that walks around in a hockey mask for
helmet. In 2009 of October, Nickelodeon took over the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise, creating a new CGI animated series and live-action films. Then in 2010, the network obtained the rights to broadcast new episodes of Power Rangers.
which I think is a good move. I mean, the Ninja Turtles, though, I actually just put one on the other day.
The new one?
Yeah.
It's not bad.
They're not the old school one, but
No.
but the thing is, it's not terrible. They're not as like
No, I like how they keep some of the traditional things in there from the original series,
Yeah.
but change it a little.
exactly, and it's not.
Cover your ears, JL. I'm not a big fan of Ninja Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's-
Ever. Not even, I read the original comic. I wasn't that big of a
So,
fan.
being a baby of the late 80s, that's what I grew up with, Ninja Turtles, everything. But apart from they weren't Ninja Turtles, they were Hero Turtles in my country.
Yes. I
They're
remember
heroes.
reading that.
Hero Turtles.
Why is that?
Because Ninja was deemed violent, and so they wouldn't give them censorship, so they had to actually rewrite the song to Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
And didn't one of them had to change their weapon?
The
Sai, I think.
Yeah, the size had to go.
They had to go
So
with
wait a
a
minute.
stick or something.
No, Donatello had the stick.
The
and then-
katanas were Leonardo was able to use his swords,
Yep, but the thing was,
but Raphael couldn't use the sai.
and then the nunchucks. There was a whole big thing about nunchucks because obviously the Michelangelo's nunchucks, and everyone loved Michelangelo.
Yeah.
and then they were banned. They were like, because some kids started beating other kids up with nunchucks because that's what you do in England. You buy nunchucks.
I think that's anywhere you get nunchucks and you
Yeah.
beat kids up with them when you're there.
But like that was another one. So it
There's
was
a
one.
guy selling nunchucks outside your house.
They're there for a reason.
They came with a pizza.
So in 2011, saw Nickelodeon's long-time rating dominance among the children's cable channels begin to topple. It was the highest-rated cable channel during the first half of that year, only for its viewership to experience a sharp double-digit decline by the end of 2011. And if you remember back to part 1, Nickelodeon was started off terribly and then was failing and then became number 1 for about 20 years.
Yeah,
so they
it
did
was
really
crazy.
good. I mean, that's quite a good thing. The channel would not experience a calendar week ratings increase until November 2012. So they had a year of absolute... It's 17-year streak. Sorry, 17 years. I said 20. At the highest rated
Close
cable
enough.
network is in total. Their viewership was finally broken by the Disney Channel during that last year.
Which is amazing with the power of Disney behind it, that Nickelodeon still dominated them for many, many years.
I think it was just more because Nick was able... Disney always kept themselves in one demographic for each thing, where the shows like the Rugrats could cover 4 or 5 different demographics.
Yes.
So it was kind of written for a mass audience. Whereas you said you could sit there and watch the Rugrats with your kids and enjoy it, where if you were to put on Mickey's Mouse Clubhouse, you're going to sit there and go, I hate Mickey Mouse's Clubhouse. Just get it over and done with.
Yep.
Or Paw Patrol.
Just get to the Mystery Mouse.
I think those cartoons really... I think those cartoons that we mentioned before really launched them, but it was Dan Schneider. They owe a lot to Dan Schneider.
Thanks, Dan, for our childhoods and all of my problems in life.
Except for Nicole, who didn't watch any of those shows.
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
I'm surprised you didn't watch Victorious. I thought that'd be right up your alley.
It
Or
was-
Zoe 101.
It was not really around my time. What year was that? These were starting in 2007.
No,
Yeah.
it was earlier than that, I thought.
No.
So you were like 15.
Yeah, it was kind of past my time. What I was going to say before was like Dora the Explorer. That was the year 2000. So I was already 9, but my sister was only 3. So I watched a lot of like the Nick Jr. shows at that time, Dora and Blue's Clues and stuff like that. But I didn't really watch the older programming because I was kind of,
Okay. It was late 90s.
for,
All those shows.
Yeah.
yeah.
Early 2000s. Late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I was already at Disney Channel at that point.
Oh, you
And
jumped
I
ship.
kind of, yeah, I switched. It's okay.
It's all right.
Yeah, it happens.
Oh, Nick Radio. Did anybody know about Nick Radio?
No.
Good, because I don't either. Because that launched on September 30th, 2013, in a partnership between both the network and iHeartMedia. The network is mainly distributed through its iHeartRadio web platform and mobile app, or by the Nick.com website, and on New York City radio station WHTZ as a secondary HD channel. Nick Radio focuses on top 40 and pop music, along with celebrity interview features. In addition to regular on-air DJs, Nick Radio also occasionally features guest DJ stints by popular artists, as well as stars from Nickelodeon's original series.
So it's kind of like the Disney Channel version.
Again,
Yeah.
never listened to it.
Yeah, like Disney Radio or whatever like
Yeah,
that.
it's annoying. If you're not a teenage girl, it's the same song, even worse than a regular Pop 40.
So J.O. would love it.
yeah.
It's not true.
Like they play Big Time Rush like for a solid hour.
Oh.
Oh boy, of course they did. All right, well, let's end talking about Nickelodeon with slime. It was nicknamed Gak after the street name for heroin.
Good. Thank you, Dan Schneider.
Good start.
I don't think they realized that was.
Yeah, some of the ever-changing mixture of gelatin, food coloring, oatmeal, baby shampoo, cottage cheese, applesauce, milk powder, vegetable oil, and liquid latex. All those different things were at some point used in the making of slime.
And you could eat it because you're a vegetarian.
Ooh, yeah.
Gelatin, you can have it. Sorry, the gelatin you can have. Sorry, that's pork-based.
Bones.
Pork.
Bones.
Pork bones.
Bones.
The bone of
An
pork.
unknown writer from You Can't Do That on Television described it as taking a bath in mud. And one nice note is that the slime has generally been described as tasteless.
So that damn slime from You Can't Do That on Television has lasted all the way until today.
Yeah. And I remember as a kid, though, they sold the slime in pots in the UK. Like, you'd buy the slime, but the thing was, no parent was ever going to buy it for the kid and let them do what they wanted to do with it, which is store it over their own head and just sit there.
Yeah, we sold it here, but it was like kind of like that substance where you could stick your fingers in it and make the fart noise.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So it wasn't really like the slime that you could pour over your head, which was really disappointing.
I know. I would still be slimed. I think I'd pay $20 to be slimed, just to say that it happened.
They should do that at Universal.
A slime
should
booth.
have a slime attraction.
They call it the slime.
And you can get slimed, because I think everybody in America wants to be slimed at least once.
Yeah.
And then you just go on one of the water rides, and then it'll wash it all right off.
Nah, they give you a poncho. That's it. And then you
What's the
immerse.
fun of wearing a poncho to get slimed if you want to get slimed?
Because you only ever want it on your head. You don't want it on your clothes.
Yeah, I gotta agree with James on
You
this
gotta
one.
take the sacrifice. Do you want to get slimed or not?
You take like the garbage bag so it goes over your head, but not on your clothes.
I'm on Nicole's side with this one. You got to get slimed.
If you're getting slimed, you're
Really
getting
slimed, yeah.
Well, then we will arrange a sliming.
Oh, boy, can't wait.
I don't know if I want you to arrange that sliming. I'm a little afraid of your arranged sliming.
So dirty.
Yes, we will be slimed when you least expect it.
What?
Well, we got some emails. Let's see what's in the email.
Yes, so if anybody would like to email us, our address is podcast42show@gmail.com. Now, I didn't say 42 because I don't want you to write out 42 alpha in alpha letters.
And just a quick thing of advice, if you're going to email us about any inaccuracies in any of the topics we were talking about, they were probably put in there on purpose. So you don't have to correct us on the inaccuracies.
But it'll make us laugh if you really want to do so. Okay, so we got an email from David Raymond saying, hello, would love to know if you sell air condition and accept credit card as means of payments. Regards.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
We will sell you from the person that we're going to buy it for, but we're going to put an 89% profit margin on
What
it.
was his name?
David Raymond, or Ramond.
David, when you typed in Podcast 42 show, what made you think we sold air conditioners? Now, if we were the air conditioning podcast,
Yes.
I could understand.
But I honestly feel that,
I feel this is an area that we are missing out on.
the podcast air conditioning network.
I say we go to his house and
Podcast
pretend to be air
42
conditioning
AC.
And we'll do it a quote, and then we'll say we need a $2,000 deposit.
Yes, and then we don't know what we're doing, but we'll rip out your air conditioner.
We'll try. We'll file some permits. We're not really sure.
I'm gonna just kick that out of the wall.
Yeah.
And then when we can't do it, we'll just sorry.
We tried.
We tried our best.
We'll do anything for
You can
the
be the
viewers.
supervisor, Nicole. You can be the guy that stands back and says, "You're doing it wrong." No, that's not where that
woman.
goes.
So it'll be
No
just like a
woman.
normal show.
Yeah, we'll just take the TV and the laptop, we'll plug it in. We'll just watch tutorials how to do it.
We could figure it out pretty easy.
You know what we should do? We should go to his house and just do a show from his house.
We're here for the air conditioning.
This is what you paid for.
Might as well, we should go while it's wintertime and it's cold, because he obviously doesn't do air. He doesn't have an air conditioner. That's the problem. So we have to do this now before it's summertime. Otherwise, we might get really hot.
That's above my pay grade.
Yeah, mine too. All right.
We get paid.
No.
We have one more email. It's from Susan Moore. She said, I really enjoyed the show you did on Ernest P. Worrell, but I find it hard to believe that his middle name stood for Power Tools. I remember seeing him for the first time in a John L. Sullivan Roseville car commercial where he used his head as a calculator. I didn't buy a car, but I enjoyed the commercial. I would love to see you guys do a show on Alf.
Yes.
I don't know if there's enough history behind Alf to do a show.
I'm
Alf?
sure.
Yes. Alf is maybe the saddest ending to a character ever.
Why? I don't remember the ending.
They dissect him.
Oh.
Did they really?
Yeah, they killed him at the end. They cut him up.
Nuh-uh.
Watch the last
Seriously?
If you want to cry your heart out, like me, I loved Alf. I had an Alf stuffed animal.
I think that's why they ended up coming up with like other movies later on, because it was so depressing.
Yeah, they cut him apart.
No. Why?
Because he got
What was
caught.
the reasoning?
Because he was like living in hiding,
Yeah.
and so then they found him and they dissected
No
him.
way!
Yeah.
They really did that? You're
Yeah.
making that up.
No, honestly, the ending of Alf, they kill Alf. They dissect Alf.
Okay, maybe there is a show
You're in
behind there.
shock. You're like, Chris is now staring at me like you're making shit up. And
Yeah,
no.
because that was primarily like a kid's show.
I will. Yeah, I can say right now the ending of Alf. All right, the last episode of Alf was called "Consider Me Gone." It was the 24th and final episode of season 4, and it aired in March 1990.
Wait a minute. 24 episodes in 4 seasons? That sounds a little low.
It's 24th and final episode of Alf's 4th season.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. The blah 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 blah. Oh shit! This is not the full.
Well, no wonder it wasn't successful. They didn't write words.
It comes up in a lot of the... So, yes.
All I find is that it ends with the to be continued as the alien task force catches him.
Yes. So then as So Alf is basically going to leave Earth to go back home.
Okay.
And then...
like E.T.?
Yes. And so he gets on his spaceship, but as he gets there, the task force turn up to get him. So men in blue suits and stuff like that. And they basically are telling them that he's going to be taken away and experimented on. So that thus meaning that Alf is going to be taken away and dissected. And
but it's to be continued, so you don't know.
No, but it's very, very made clear that the emotion is there, and they're all upset that they know that Alf's going to die.
So it's like an alternative ending to E.T., where E.T. escapes. Poor Alf doesn't. Oh.
And it was so sad that it was actually lots of complaints about it. It made kids cry, and they actually had an alternative ending of it as well, where the Alf was dead, and they said they couldn't do it because it would be like killing a Muppet.
Oh.
Yeah, that's horrible.
I know.
Who greenlit that?
Well, I mean, they killed off Dan and Roseanne, and he's coming back to life, so you never know.
Yeah, but that's fine because Roseanne's not geared towards
families. It was a family show. Alf was a family show.
But it wasn't
a very dysfunctional family show.
Yeah, it's American Family though, isn't it?
Yeah, but your kids probably weren't sitting around watching Roseanne with you.
No.
It was more adult. That's horrible.
But Alf
sounds like they got pissed off that they got canceled.
Yeah, and so they said we're just going to kill him, so you can't use it. But he's come back. He's been brought back to life in different shapes or form. But then Alf
had the animated series.
Yeah, but the guy that was inside of Alf's costume was a drunken asshole who used to belligerate people all the time and kick people.
Oh, I didn't know it was a costume. I thought it was a puppet.
No, it was a costume. There was a puppet, half of it, and then the guy that ran around as him was a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. Yeah.
Huh. Well,
I want an Alf episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll do an Alf episode. Well,
I think we just did it.
Susan?
Susan.
All right, well, you're getting your episode. I vetoed it at the moment I read that email. I'm like, I'm not doing an Alf episode. There's nothing there. It was a TV show. It had a puppet. End of episode. But I guess not.
Huh. The guy inside the costume is an interesting story. He was an immigrant as well. And he was an angry immigrant.
All right, let's save it for that episode.
I like Alf.
I know you do, and I'm very happy
Have
about
you ever seen Alf?
I can't wait till the Perfect Strangers episode. We're going to do a Perfect Strangers episode.
Is there some controversy there?
No, I just wanted to mention that show.
Okay. We'll put it in the list. All right, well, you can find us where you find all the podcasts. I highly recommend just using a podcast app. That's the best way to listen to this podcast or any other podcast you might be interested in. Mm-hmm. And talk about our group, Nicole, please.
We are the OTL Podcast Network on Facebook. So if you want to find us there, OTL Podcast Network. And it will ask you how you found us. So if you're listening to this right now, you will type in Podcast 42, and then we will automatically add you to the group. We automatically add everybody, but I mean, it would just help if we knew that you found us by listening to this podcast.
I thought you said it would be helpful if you were nude. I mean,
no.
Yes, if you're nude when you join the group.
That's going to be next week's episode. We're going to record in the nude.
Okay.
I did not agree to this.
You can just wear a blanket, like you are now, because it's cold here.
Blanket.
And if you're interested in Star Wars facts, you definitely want to join our group, because Faraz will put up lots of Star Wars facts for you.
All the Star Wars facts.
Every Star Wars fact.
And then you can argue with them for hours and days and weeks and months and years on the same topic.
But you'll never win.
Nope.
But even when you prove him wrong, you still lose.
That's right.
Yes.
Because, wait a minute, what was the one we did?
We're not even going to start this one. We'll save this for another rainy day.
Yes.
All right, well, that's the show. I'm Christopher DeVos.
I'm Nicole Fasone.
I'm not going in order.
I know.
I don't believe in order either.
We don't know who you guys are. That's fine. You're the British guy.
Yep, the British guy.
And you're the beer guy.
That's right.
British beer guy.
Right, see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
You are no longer listening to Podcast 42. Bye-bye.
Some of the stuff you just heard might have been embellished, made up, or just plain incorrect. In other words, don't use this show to write a book report with. You will get a bad grade. Just like all the hosts.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!